Hey, you guys, episode number 25 of season 10 for 90's now. How are you?
Wow, 25?
Yeah, times
Seems like
10.
a lot.
That's the quarter life crisis.
We have got a lot to think about in our crisis tonight.
So it's the halfway mark of the season.
That's true.
Yeah. Did we get cake?
Yeah.
Did anybody think of cake?
This is a bit last minute to ask.
No
for
one thought of cake. Maybe Adam still has cake like he did when he had those pumpkins in his window for 6 months.
No, and my birthday was 2 weeks ago, and there's no cake left.
There's no cake left. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good because I'm not sure that I would want that cake.
Yeah. You know what
Two-week
cake is indestructible is those McCain cakes. Those
Oh,
deep
yeah?
delicious.
I think we really have to question what's going on in there.
Yeah.
If after 2 weeks they're still good.
They are though. Those are delicious.
Yeah, but you know what? They never last 2 weeks.
No, they don't. They last about 9 minutes.
That was delicious.
I don't think I've actually let myself have one in probably over 10 years, but I see
Wow.
them and I'm like, I see you.
Thank
Thank you for your efforts.
I see you seeing me.
Yeah.
We have
Carry
got quite a bit to tackle today, even if there is no cake. We're going to tell you how the Oscars are closing a 45-year-old window with their hosts, plural, this year. Also, we don't have to look too far to see who was the driving force, might be a strong yet effective reference to describe the return of John Frusciante to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We'll also tell you which Canadian was great, but didn't get to fully grasp that greatness. We'll tell you that and get into Kelly's trivia and a 90's rewind that'll feature some really great voices from 1991 that we really tried to sing along with, but let's face it, we're not them. We're also going to talk about the cons of dating apps, thanks to the experience of someone we can all root for.
Mhm.
So let's start there. Drew Barrymore, actively looking for, someone to date, someone to be in a relationship with, someone to just spend some time with, whatever.
Oh, man.
And man. And she spoke to someone in person. Gasp.
Yeah.
Yeah, she spotted someone. Was it Central Park? Thought he was handsome. Asked him flat out if he was single. Who needs an app when you got that kind of?
Did he recognize her?
I think he probably eventually did. She's sort of hard to not recognize, especially even if you don't recognize her right away by looks.
Yeah.
As soon as she starts talking, I think. Yet, having said that, what she did learn was that he was 28 years old.
Mhm.
So a little younger than she is, maybe not as versed in the, the school of Drew. What they did get to was a great conversation and no exchange of phone numbers, but she did tell him that what she wanted to do was something that she'd be proud of that day. And then he told her that he was proud of her too. So I thought that was really cool.
She's just cool.
She was talking about it on the Tonight Show about how, actually talking to someone versus relying on an app or something a little less personal. She sort of
Did you
cut the middle thing out.
I'll ask both of you. Did when you met a significant other, Sharon, was that a in-person thing or was it an app thing?
It was an in-person thing at the suggestion of a mutual friend.
Okay.
And then it just took 3 years to get there. But
Okay.
that's life.
Those good things come to those who wait is what they say.
Exactly. Patience is virtuous. And oh my God, I was virtuous.
There we are. Adam, did you was yours an app thing?
This one is an app thing. The one before was an app thing. Actually, my last 4 relationships were app started on an app.
That's cool. So
And
you're used to
yeah.
that though, right? Like
Yeah.
that's something that you're completely comfortable with. And
Absolutely. It's just it's been then there's eventually a first date, but the first the first hey, hello, hey, nice to see you, and like pictures, it's always on the apps now. And
That's
I can
cool.
say it has to be that for 90% of my friends at least.
really.
Well, the last 2 years has been pandemic, so it hasn't been easy to meet people in the
Mhm.
person.
But
That's
even
true.
before that,
My second to last person was at the suggestion of Sharon.
well, that's how we all know how that ended.
We'll just say that it ended.
We
Okay.
did. Yeah. Especially when I was requested to return her Glade plugins. Yeah. That was
Whoa. Okay.
amazing.
That's under the nitpicky folder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was a list that had been compiled to remember to give the Glade plugins, which I would like to add, I gave back.
Well, you wouldn't want to have that scent linger and be like reminded of anything,
And you don't want to be the
unwanted.
person that argues about the Glade plugins.
I'm keeping
Like,
them.
all
Yeah.
right.
Fine, take them. I'll just go to Walmart and get new ones.
Yeah. We actually
about that?
talked when it happened. I actually talked about it on the radio, obviously not mentioning names, but like, because it was appalling to me. It was appalling that someone would ask to have a Glade plugin returned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like nitpicky, but
Yeah. Like passive aggressive, all
totally
that stuff.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fun
yeah.
time.
And then I don't know if I told you this part. This is the best. My parents never listen to me on the radio, like unless I'm on the talk station.
Yeah.
But for some reason that morning they were listening, and don't ask me why. Anyways, and it was a big deal for me to be on that particular show because I was actually filling in on the morning show. Like I was hosting the morning show, which was a big
Mhm.
deal. And they let me actually fill in for normal, like the male host, who's usually like, that's a big deal. You're sitting in for the guy. And so I was just so proud that I'd had that opportunity. We'd had a good show. We used that as a topic. But again, like this is my job. I'm not going to slander myself and name names on the radio. It was just like,
Yeah.
this is an X, blah, blah. And it got us great text responses, because we asked like, what's the craziest thing your ex has asked of you or, in the breakup process. Anyway, it was amazing. I leave the show and I'm buzzed because I'm like, hey, that went well. That was great. We had a good time. And my phone rings and I'm like, why is my mom calling me at this hour? Like, this is ridiculous. So I answer and she's like, your father and I are upset with you. Like, and I'm like,
Why were they
I
upset?
couldn't figure out why. I'm like, what have I done? I haven't even talked to them in like 24 hours. And she's like, we heard that show like this. And she went on and they were convinced that like I had embarrassed this person and like all this stuff. And they're like, people are listening and they know who you mean and like this. And I'm like, no, they don't. And even if they do, like there might be 20 people that would know who I'm talking about. Meanwhile, thousands of people have no idea who I'm talking about. And it's a great relatable story. I'm like, and I actually said, don't tell me how to do my job.
Oh, nice.
Well,
but
yeah.
also the person did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
yes,
not like
exactly.
you did it. It's not like you made it up. It happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think I'm literally telling you, my parents never listened to me. One time.
And
That
they
one
haven't
time
listened since.
They have not listened since, no. But actually on that note, but Sharon, before you move to the next topic, I would like to say that we have a surprise and it actually is kind of in this realm. So as you know, I'm responsible for minding the YouTube comments. Like I watch those. And of course we shout out our good buddy, Rachel, which by the way, I have an
Rachel.
answer on our questions from last week, but we can get to that later in the show.
Oh, good.
But I did want to bring out that a message came in yesterday from a ginger bear. Yeah.
I like it already.
Where are you going with this?
Oh, Adam, it gets better because it's directed at you. Yeah, I would like to say that the ginger bear's profile pic is a cat. So I don't know if ginger bear is of the male or female persuasion. I don't know.
Okay.
Or human.
Or human, right? But ginger
Yeah.
bear wrote, Adam is hot with a fire emoji.
I've never got that comment on the internet before. Thank you. I don't know how to answer that.
Adam, I have been waiting to tell you this for over 24 hours. I'm like, I got to save it for the show. But like, this made my day.
Now I'm hot for real.
Yeah.
I'm going to screenshot it and I'll send it to you so you can keep this forever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So ginger
little
bear,
Adam.
you say?
He is hot.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
You should.
And don't forget the fire emoji, Adam. The fire emoji. Yeah. Yeah. You look a little flushed, Adam.
I think I am.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this kind of surprise.
You
Happy
still got it,
belated
Adam.
birthday, Adam.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm still 28 years young.
There you go. Well, you know what? Are you guys ready for I think I'm ready. I'm sure Adam's ready. Kelly, have you compiled your thoughts? Are you ready for Kelly's trivia?
I'm burning up. I'm so ready.
Because he's hot.
Trivia.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. That's a sizzling sound, by the way.
That was great.
Mhm.
So I'm going to ask this question. I feel like I haven't asked it, but if I did, I have another one ready because it's a good question, but I'm like, did I ask this before? I'm not sure.
Okay.
So question number 1 is of the sport variety. And I feel like I may have asked this. So anyways, I'll ask another one if it's not. Which NHL team became the first ever to visit the White House in 1991?
Adam,
Go, Adam.
you did ask that one. I remember I said the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh no, Pittsburgh Penguins.
It is the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I asked this question. So
You did
that
ask
doesn't count. I'm going to ask another one. It just was such a good one. All right. So the second
we're learning. This is something you taught us. We're
we're
And
learning
it stuck
it.
with you because it didn't stick with me. I was like, the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah. And actually, that's what you said the first time.
Yeah, that's why I was so familiar.
All right, here we go. So this will be really question number 1. Scott Donnie represented the United States in which sport at the 1992 Olympics?
Adam.
Go, Adam.
Winter Olympics.
No, Summer Olympics. Yeah.
Oh, basketball.
Oh, nice. No. Mm-mm.
Sharon,
Yep.
fencing.
No. You said that with
Downey?
conviction. No, diving.
Oh,
And here's the thing,
Never
like
heard of
I
him.
feel like I'm pretty well
Both of
versed
us.
in a lot of the divers. I've never heard of this person.
Did he
Me
win any
neither.
medals?
It doesn't say, but just says he was in diving.
I'm going to say he didn't win any medals.
Yeah.
And no offense, Scott.
We have a lot of
Donnie.
American
No
followers,
offense
so that's
to
why it
first
was an important
names.
question to ask because I feel like a lot of our American followers would have known this.
How do you write his last name?
Donie
Donie.
and Scott is
Scott
the first name.
Donnie.
Scott Donnie.
Kelly,
Wanna
you
hear
have
something
two first
hilarious?
names also.
Pardon?
You have 2 first names also.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that. So like in the last little while, as we know, I have taken on a new role at the radio stations.
Yeah.
I've never had this in my entire like 15-year experience working there. In the last couple of months, I have been called Hi Alexander, like in like 6 or 7 emails. And I
Yeah.
clearly write like, thank you, Kelly. And then I get back, Hi Alexander. And I'm like, no,
Wrong.
wrong.
I don't want to do business with you.
Yeah,
You're being called Alexander. I'm being called hot. I get it.
it's so not the same though.
More information on Scott Donnie. He won the silver medal at the 1992
Oh,
Olympics
wow.
at the 10-meter platform.
Sharon, I
Yeah.
feel like you should know this. Like you were of age.
I might have been in the clubs.
Yeah.
Ah,
1992. I would have been 24.
Clubbing.
Hitting the club pavement. Working out my moves.
Question number 2 is of the pop culture variety.
Mm.
I actually really like this question. In what year did Oprah Winfrey launch Oprah's book club?
Sharon,
Go, Sharon.
1996.
You got it. Did you legit know?
I felt like I knew.
Okay. I
And
before I looked,
obviously
I
I
actually
knew.
I thought it was 97. So
I'm
well,
happy
you would
that
have
I
been
knew.
close.
I would have been close. But Adam, did you have any thoughts before sharing?
No idea.
Have you read any of
Who's
her
this
book-
Oprah that you speak of?
Ah,
Who's this Oprah? Did you read any of the book club suggestions?
I did. I read Beloved
Oh,
by
yeah.
Toni Morrison.
hmm
I read, what was it? Bastard Out of Carolina. That was a quick book, and I think I read it in a day. Probably the fastest book I ever read. It was very moving.
hmm
There's been a few actually. Maya Angelou.
Oh, yeah.
I've read a lot of hers.
Yeah.
Because it's just so worth reading. It should required reading. Yeah, I think I would consider it required reading. She was educated in the best possible ways, like in schools and in life and from experience, combined good and bad. So yeah, Maya Angelou, it should be required reading.
Solid choice. There's a poem from her that I really love called Phenomenal Woman.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
That's a very good one.
Yeah. There's a lot. I have a book of her poetry. My mother was a fan of hers too. Yeah, it's worth the dive, man. There's no, like, you could just open up even any of her novels and just open to a page and you're going to learn something. I would guarantee that.
I'm not that intelligent to write something that provocative.
ah.
Don't underestimate yourself, Kelly.
I'm good with emails though, because I get people's first name right.
Maybe you're just signing them wrong and they're
Yeah.
calling you Alexander because of that.
That's going to be my new thing. I'm just going to have one name like Madonna, Alexander. That'll be
As
it.
you should. As you should. Well, I mentioned that we would be closing a 45-year-old window at the Oscars this year. And that is because Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall, as co-hosts of the Oscars, will be, I guess, multi-females for the first time since 1977.
Who was in the 77s? Do we know?
Jane
Oh,
and Ellen Burstyn, who I think it was with Warren Beatty and Richard Pryor. Imagine that.
that's cool.
That's like a party show right there, that foursome.
I think it was the late 80s, right? When Whoopi was doing it, like 87-ish or something, when she did a few.
I believe you're right. Yes.
She was great.
There were some great hosts. I'm surprised though that, like, I'm thinking of the Tina Fey and Amy Poehler combo, but it wasn't for the Oscars. That was for
Golden Globes.
Golden Globes. Yeah.
They were
You
so
get away
good
with more.
together.
Adam,
Golden
can you
Globes.
check? Didn't they do the Oscars once? I feel like they did. Actually, funny enough, on our we had our station pub quiz last night,
Mhm.
and our theme actually was the Academy Awards for this month because they're up at the end of the month. So we thought it
Right.
would be a fun theme for our audience.
Yeah.
And just some of the questions that we had, like, it was crazy. Like, just remembering Ellen DeGeneres's like 2014 selfie.
And that was awesome.
Like, that was crazy. And then actually I'll ask you that question. Who held the camera for the selfie? Do you remember who held that was my question last night. Who held
I'm
the
going to
camera?
go with, was it Bradley Cooper?
It was
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper. Yeah.
I am on fire
You
today.
you are on it. And then actually you can probably answer this one. Who is the most nominated actress?
Meryl Streep.
17 Best Actress awards and 4 supporting.
And she's good in every single thing that she does.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
In 2019, while Adam's still finding information for us, which actress was nominated for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress at the same Oscars?
Which year?
2019.
Oh.
Wait, what was the question? I was reading something else.
In 2019, there was an actress that was nominated in the Best Actress category and also in Best Supporting. Name the actress.
Dang, I forget.
Do you want a hint?
Yes.
Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, I've seen this
Oh,
recently.
of course. Scarlett
is it?
Johansson.
Yep.
And you saw Jojo Rabbit?
I did not, but I knew
You
of
should
it.
totally watch that movie.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay.
I've
So
seen it like
good.
a month ago. It's great.
You know what the biggest takeaway from last night's pub quiz was? Kelly has not watched a lot of movies.
Don't you find you look back on the past couple of years and you think, I should have done more?
Yeah. Yep.
Like there was a good chunk of it at the start of COVID and the lockdown, whatever, where we were locked down, like we couldn't do anything. So
Mhm.
like, I think, man, I probably should have cleaned up some of the stuff that's been sitting in this spot that I thought I'm going to take care of that. I haven't done it.
Yeah. And now the world is reopening.
Now we're reopening. I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, back to Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall. They
Just
are
before-
gelling. as
Just before we go
hosts.
back there, I have our information on Maya Rudolph, Tina Fey, and Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You remember that year they did not have any hosts at the
Oh,
Oscars?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
They made the 3 girls open the show, and Tina Fey joked right away that the 3 of them were definitely not hosting the Oscars. And she says, "We're just going to stand here a little too long so that people who get USA Today tomorrow will think we hosted." So there was a bunch of
Well,
we're not hosting. We're just here, 3 of us making jokes, but we're not hosting.
Well, one of the
So,
things that Amy Schumer had offered in her interview about stuff that's going on with her, not the least of which is that she's got a new show called Life and Beth, which I think is a funny title, is that one of the angles that they were going for, suggesting that the 3 of them go for as co-hosts, would be to be competitive. So I think it's that antiquated notion that women can't get along. We've never had more than, multiple female hosts at the Oscars. So we got to make it, somehow salacious or something.
Mhm.
So let's make you competitive. And they're like, no, this is what we're doing.
Well, we all know the only reason I'm in the show is because if I wasn't here, the 2 of you would just keep fighting over and over again, right?
Oh yeah, cat scratch fever. And That's true. Thank you for balancing us out, Adam.
Welcome.
It's because he's hot.
That's true.
Yeah, we just need some hotness in the show.
Way to bring the heat, bro. Did you know that Bryan Adams has had many chart hits? Yes, you did, because it's
Yes.
Canadian requirement that we know that.
It's true. It's true.
Major accomplishments. And when Everything I Do It For You hit #1 in the UK and stayed there for a few weeks, he kind of didn't really have any idea of the impact of that, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of, we knew that he was a big deal in Canada because for a good chunk of the 80s, he had really successful albums, and really, like, we played them on Canadian radio, not just because there's, a percentage rule on Canadian radio stations to play Canadian artists, but they were good songs. He can write a song, obviously. And then our neighbors to the south of us in the States got wind of that. They actually knew of him in the 80s because Heaven was a pretty big deal for him. But when Everything I Do It For You was as big as it was, that was a Robin Hood soundtrack, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Prince of Thieves, wasn't it?
Right. Yes.
Yep.
He said that he was just so busy doing everything else, like he just kept working, that, he said people were always saying to him, "You're #1 in England." But he says he wasn't really around to witness this. He was doing tours, nonstop shows, like for 4 years. So he said that it changed in a sudden kind of way, that because he got to more, to bigger places, bigger crowds, and longer tours. So he started to see the reality of how successful he was being, but not because he remembers actually being in the moment of it, just because things got better for him. I guess it can't be a bad thing.
Somehow I always am able to bring this back to Janet, and I will.
As you should.
I remember speaking to Tina Landon like a couple of times, and she mentioned that when things were really crazy, because like obviously all the fans would say for the Janet album, whatever, like, we're so gung ho for her. And like she mentioned, Tina, that she's like, they were kind of in a bubble. Like, like they'd know that Janet had done well on a, like even Janet would announce to the team, and Tina always said this is cool. Like she would never say, "Oh, I'm #1" with whatever song. She'd always say like, "We're #1" or whatever. So they knew what was going on, but they were so insulated being on tour or whatever that they didn't really feel the noise. It was only after.
Yeah. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And back to Bryan Adams for a second. By the time our show is reaching the people, his 15th album will be available to you. It's called So Happy It Hurts.
Yeah, that's painful.
That's a typical Canadian album title, I think. Speaking of new albums, the Red Hot Chili Peppers have a new album out. So that's kind of cool because it's been a few years since we got some of their groove laid down. And John Frusciante is back with the Chili Peppers. And it was an emotional conversation at Flea's house over dinner that got him, pretty much tipped the scales in a way that got him to make his decision to rejoin. And Flea, if you've ever seen an interview with him, read his book, read an interview, anything, that he's a bundle of emotions. He's just so, and you watch him play, he's in it. So he said he opened up to his buddy and said, sometimes I miss playing with you so much. And he started crying. And then John Frusciante started crying and said, I miss it too. So long story short, he's back with the band. Even Anthony Kiedis said that if your long lost family members come back and says, hey, I want to rejoin the family, you have no choice. You cannot say no. And John Frusciante is just such a talented guitar player. So it makes sense that he would, this many years, come back and join the family.
That's cute.
Yeah, we're playing the new song on our station.
Was it Black Summer? What is it called? Black Summer? No.
Black Summer. Yeah, Black Summer. And lyrically at the start of it, he sounds like he's like an East Coaster. He sounds like he's singing a sea shanty or something.
Have you heard his because I just played Poster Child for the our Tuesday feature that we have on CJD.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like the vocal runs on that, you have to listen. Like he's having fun on that song. Like he's just having a good time.
That's the best part about the Chili Peppers, is that they've got so many different vibes going all at once that you can expect a Red Hot Chili Peppers album, but it doesn't mean that it's going to sound like the last one.
Yeah.
You just know it's going to be good.
I think they're one of the bands where if they experiment, nobody gets like banana crazy about it. Like it's like it's expected and it's cool and whatever.
Yeah.
But
and
then
they're
if you
drawing
get you
from-
two and they go too wild, people are like, what's happening?
Why did you give me a free album?
Yeah.
Remember how mad
never
people
get
People
were?
were so angry about that.
How dare you put an album in my phone?
Yeah.
When did you take my phone? That's what it was. I think mostly people didn't know how it got there. So they, they were feeling violated. Hey, wait a minute. How come you give me a present? Idiots. You idiots. Chili Peppers album is due at the end
Is
of
it
April.
the 1st of April, Sharon?
Is it
1st of April?
first?
I think so.
It could be. I don't even know what today is. So
That's morning show
coming.
hours for you, Sharon.
that is morning show hours. When the alarm clock goes off at 3:53.
Yeah. Have you figured out the Betty by time yet? Like, have you narrowed
No.
it down? No.
No, I'm trying to fight the nap in the afternoon, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do for much longer, because I thought, oh, if I fight the nap and get a workout in, like physically tire myself,
Hmm.
then by the time I go to bed, I should be ready to go to bed earlier, and then I end up going to bed at like 10:30.
You're still
So-
doing that.
So
How are
who's
you
winning?
doing that?
Not me. I don't even know. But
It's
I'm
funny
trying to-
though, because you and I've obviously been around, radio. Well, you even longer than me, clearly. But
Clearly. What the hell?
so much experience, Sharon. That's what I mean.
Jeez.
But I remember speaking to our morning team like years ago on the pop station, and it was interesting to see how the different members operated. Like the lead guy, like he napped. Like, and it's funny because if we ever had a team meeting, he'd be falling asleep in the team meeting at like 10:30, 11 a.m., like struggling.
Yeah.
And then the producer was all about going to bed at like 8:30 at night. So he didn't nap during the day. He powered through, but went to bed at like 8:30 and got up at 3:30 or 4, whatever it was. And then the female host, she was just all over the place. Like, 11 p.m. Then, might be 9, but then like up at 3 and like,
Oh
there
my
was a lot
gosh.
going on. So
I feel like I would do that also.
I
Yeah.
think I have a system the same way that the alarm goes off, and I set 3 just in case. And I think that it's usually just one that's gone off.
mhm.
So then I'm like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
and then you're just moving, and then
Yeah.
you're doing, like I'll shower and get everything done, and the whole process of planning my breakfast, and I need to just make sure that I have food. That's
Yeah.
all.
Are
Like,
you
I can-
packing
I
the
can
night
do
before,
anything.
though? Like, do you pack your breakfast? No, I don't mean like if there's any, but do you have like
Like-
stuff ready?
Probably 50% of it's done.
Okay,
So
cool.
that I
Okay.
I tend to bring a yogurt bowl, so I'll just quickly assemble that, and then I just got to pack it all up
Okay. Yeah.
in my my breakfast valise. I just need to make sure I have food. Well, this is the first part. Then there's this part.
But are you having any time to eat? Because you're running the show. So like,
I
is there-
know. Yeah,
there
there's
eating
times.
times?
Yeah, there's a bit of time. It's sort of in
Okay.
between things.
Okay.
And if I go on the air with yogurt in my mouth, then that's
We've all done it.
that may be the new way to do radio.
It could be your sponsor as YoPlay.
Yeah, exactly. You guys, you think you might be ready for a 90s rewind?
Let's go. I have this new sound effect ready. What year are we going to, Sharon?
1991?
Here we go.
Thank you.
Not even born yet.
I only heard the
Am
first
I?
part. Was there an extra part?
No.
Yeah, got you right here.
Okay, good.
Woo. Thank you, Adam.
Sharon's ready to go.
I promised you some great voices from 1991, so let's start at the top. Just because she was at #1 with her 3rd single from that self-titled debut album called Mariah Carey. The song, the 3rd single, was Someday, and she was at #1 with that. Back around this time, 1991. How about I drop another big name on you? Also
Do it.
Canadian. You're just bringing all the Canadians in. Celine Dion.
Oh,
Or as everybody outside of this, where we are, says it, Celine Dion. Her foray into her crossover success outside of Canada included Where Does Your Heart Beat Now? Still here. That was also in the top 10. How about Gloria Estefan? Gloria
Ooh.
Estefan, coming out of the dark. The triumph of that song. She had suffered major injuries after an 18-wheeler hit their tour bus after recuperating from back surgery. The fact that she actually came out of the dark. How about this one? You ready for this? Oleta Adams.
Oh yeah.
Get here. Come on. The depth of her voice was actually startling in the best way, and also in a way that reminded us that we didn't actually sound like her. So stop singing along.
Yeah.
Nip it. Stop it. You know what? I'm going to wrap it up on an upbeat tone, and I know what Kelly's going to do as soon as I say the name Tara Spencer. That's it. It's a shoulder shimmy when you think of the song This House. Adam, if it's not familiar to you or anybody listening, if This House by Tara Spencer is not familiar, make yourself familiar with this song. It's great. It sounds very much like 1991, but in a way that makes it feel good. Exactly. And that's your 90s Rewind.
Good job, Sharon. I have to quickly mention, we hosted, it was International Women's Day recently, and we hosted an Empower Hour on the pop station. Nice. And so we played for a full hour, like just female artists, which was amazing. And it was so funny to watch because a lot of the artists that we played, like the songs were newer, like we played Lizzo, you know, from like 2019 and just, you know, recent stuff. But then we popped on and it was such an amazing surprise. We were able to play Whitney Houston's I'm Every Woman. Ooh. And I cannot tell you how that song, when it just whoosh. Yeah. And even like my co-host, who's like a 6'4" guy, was like, this is great. He's so having a good time. And it was just, it's so amazing that song, like, you know, what is it, 30 years later is still like, it's 30 years this year. It's bananas. Like that song is still amazing 30 years later.
That totally holds up, that song.
Yeah.
Man, it's similarly, Chaka Khan's Ain't Nobody from 10 years prior to that Whitney classic. That too, I was listening to that this morning I listen to it fairly regularly just because it's that damn good. But it's those songs by these women that I think it's a mark of how well the song is written, but also how well it's delivered. So
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that Empower Hour moment, Kel.
Thank you. And happy International Women's Day.
Back at ya.
Yep.
You too, Adam. I think it's important to wish women happy International Women's Day, but also acknowledge the men that can fully appreciate the importance of a day and Women's Month, actually.
Yep.
We highlight one day, but we're really taking every other day too.
Yeah.
And Adam's hot.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, that's not important today.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I'm hot, you're hotter. Let's
go. Ooh, I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yep.
We are at the end of season 10, episode 25 of 90s Now. And thank you to, thank you both, obviously, for making it fun every single time. But thanks to everybody for finding us wherever it is that you do that. We appreciate it. And we thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.